One. Okay, so we're recording now, and Catherine, you're good to start.
Awesome. Okay, so the first question looks if the literature review clearly utilizes information from the information synthesis matrix in a coherent and organized fashion. Looking at your lit review, I already see with every like heading, like you're delving into each topic and you're pulling out those sources. I see the in-text citations, and I see that they're in conversation with one another. So I'm
Mhm.
looking specifically at this first bit where you talk about religion and mortality, and you pull in the two studies. So you say similarly in a 2010 study, and I think using words like similarly and like comparing and contrasting the sources is a really good way to engage those sources. And I think you do that pretty well. Yeah. Well, not pretty well, really great, but
Thank
I know it's
you.
still a work in progress. Mine's still a work in progress too. And I like the way that you compare and contrast your sources. For the second one, it says explanation of research and conclusion appropriately explores context and possible assumptions. The evidence presented clearly. All of that good stuff. I think that yours is presented really well. I know that you're not quite done yet, and neither
Mhm.
am I. Like mine's not a complete draft either. Um, but I think the way that you could talk about the black sheep effect, as well as in-group attitudes, and pulling in those different like ideas from social psychology and how they all kind of converge to make your main point. I think
Mhm.
that is a really good way to explore the contexts of the different kind of like ideas you're exploring. It's like pulling in the black sheep effect and the in group. I think is a good way to explore that context and possible assumptions. So I
Mhm.
think if you continue doing that for the rest of your lit review, you'll be able to really thoroughly explore all of those ideas. And for number three, the literature review clearly investigates a relevant, complex problem or issue, adding multiple perspectives. I think you have those perspectives when you talk about the black sheep effect and mortality and in-group attitudes, different kind of takes on the same phenomenon necessary, kind of like the same like issue or not issue but like situation with religion
Mhm.
and mortality, and in-group attitudes. And I think that you do that really well so far in your draft, and I think that that is a good complex issue that you can look at because religion is so multifaceted, and there's so many different psychological kind of like
Yeah.
psychological effects. I don't know. I'm taking social.
Concepts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm taking social psych this semester, and I'm trying to think of like what Dr. Warner would say because we just talked about black sheep effect in class.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think that you're on a really good track to exploring this with different perspectives and different kind of aspects of psychology. And I think just honestly, like for all these questions, all I want to say is like keep doing what you're doing with like two thumbs up. Because I think it's really clear. And number four is arrives at conclusion while acknowledging limitations of research and proposes future plans. So I know you're not quite done, but I'm sure
Mhm.
that you will get there because what you have so far is setting you up, I think, to make that conclusion and explore those next plans in this research. I think you understand where the research is going, even though there's no conclusion. I think it's clear enough so far in your lit review draft that like you know what you're talking about, and it's all
Mhm.
converging into that one point. Um, I think your organization for number five, you have a nice synthesized introduction. I also was looking like I was a writing tutor, so I was looking at how you did your introduction, and I think
Mhm.
by starting with that previous research, that's a really good way to situate your reader, to know kind of what you are going to be talking about and like what realm of like psychology you're really focusing
Mhm.
on with religion and in-group attitudes. And then saying, however, research also provides evidence for a social psychology concept known as black sheep effect. I think the way that you're pulling these different concepts together and you're talking about them all in that first paragraph really sets your reader up well to understand your topic. So I think that is a good synthesized introduction with compelling information for sure.
Oh, thank you.
And I think doing something similar for your conclusion, like you'll be on a great path for that. And I think you use proper APA or MLA. I was not think I know you.
Hello? I can't hear you anymore. Hello? Are you still there? Okay, I'm gonna stop recording for a second. Yeah. Okay, we're recording again, so you're good to
Yay.
talk
Okay,
now.
awesome. I just left off kind of talking about your introduction, and I think you accurate, like not accurately, but you synthesize the sources very well, where like you can see that they're in conversation with one another because you say previous research, but then you also say, however, research also provides evidence, which is a nice way to like have all these sources talking to one another about your topic, and I think that's really good in your introduction. And then for the sixth question about APA. Eventually, like there'll be a cover page and stuff, but I know this is just a first draft.
Mhm.
Your references look really good in APA. I always look at like where the italics are, and your
Uh,
italics are right where they should be. I
good.
know sometimes, as a tutor in the Writing Center, I would recommend to students to get rid of the hyperlink in their DOIs, but that's more of a stylistic thing, and it's not like a student wouldn't get marked down for that. I'm trying really hard to like go into writing tutor mode, but I don't see too much
Okay.
or really anything at all. Your citations look great. And eventually you'll have that cover page just because right now the header on this draft is like kind of MLA format. Um, just because it's in
Okay.
the it's left line in the top corner, but
Mhm.
this is a first draft, and eventually it'll be written in APA where you have that cover page, and then
Mhm.
in APA you also just won't have your last name at the top corner. It'll just be like the one, and you'll have your name. You'll have Katie, you'll have Honor 3040, you'll have the date. You'll also have like Department of Psychology, Southern Utah University.
Mhm.
Purdue OWL has a pretty good like sample paper, but I think because this is a draft, like that's not an issue right now. I'm just trying to be really like, ooh, writing tutor mode.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
helpful though. I've honestly forgot about the cover page, but yeah.
That's just the only thing I can even think of. I'm trying to think of some like critiques or some next steps for you, but I think once you finish that conclusion, you are all set. Like your sources talk to one another and they're all converging on the same idea about religion and about attitudes towards religion, looking at morality and the black sheep effect. And I think that the way you have your paper structured, where you go into religion and mortality, and then you go into in-group attitudes, and then black sheep effect, I think that's a really good way, like ease your reader into like
Mhm.
you're starting really, really big, and then you're getting smaller, and smaller and smaller. And I think that's gonna be a really good convergence for your conclusion when you eventually talk about your own research. So I think you're on a good track. I don't have
Awesome.
anything else to say. Thank
All right. Thank you so much for your feedback. That's really
you.
helpful.
And I hope the recording got the first
Yeah,
bit.
we'll see. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and head into your feedback. So question one, the lit review clearly utilizes information from the information synthesis matrix in a coherent and organized fashion. Was the student successful in appropriately engaging at least six reputable sources? And yeah. Um, yeah, I thought like your lit review read as very well informed. It was a very nice flow to it. Really clear, like you've done the research and the case studies, but also included some empirical findings as well, which I found really valuable. I think it's always good to have those different types of research, especially in such a unique case. I could see how there would be a lot of case studies with this sort of topic. So I think the way you utilize those is it flows really well and it keeps me interested. And yeah, no, yeah, you presented the information all really well. And then number two, explanation of research and conclusion appropriately explore context and possible assumptions. The evidence is presented clearly and supported by multiple perspectives. Synthesis. Yeah, so like more of the same thing. The different types of research I really appreciated. And yeah, you just presented everything really clearly. You used a few different examples from history, but also from like religious aspects of like doomsday prepping, I found really interesting as well. Catherine? Uh, okay, we're recording again. Sorry for the little blip there. Um, we were talking about question two, and exploring the context and possible assumptions and the evidence being clearly presented and supported by multiple perspectives. What I was gonna say, Catherine, was I love, like, again, I love all the different types of research you included here, the different case studies throughout time, kind of demonstrating this doomsday concept and the different behaviors associated with it. But I also appreciate the perspective of religion and like mortality playing a big role in it as well. So yeah, I definitely think you presented it from multiple perspectives and really have a good um, understanding of it and yeah, present it really well. Um,
Pulling in all of those things. Y2K. Oh my gosh, sorry, I also choked on water while I was talking. But no, thank you. I was really interested in the different kind of aspects of like doomsday throughout history. And I definitely
mhm.
think the religious aspect needed to be talked about. So I was trying to pull that
Yeah.
in.
Oh, for sure. Also, I was wondering as I was reading through yours, were you following the chronological like format of a lit review?
Yeah, for this one I was, which I think is kind of not the norm in like psychology, like total research papers.
Uh-huh.
But I think it lent itself more to like if I wanted to look at doomsday through history, and I'm kind of pulling in like anthropology a little bit into my project to make it
Mhm.
interdisciplinary. I kind of went more the chronological route. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought as I was reading it. I was like, wow, this is like really different from mine, but in a good way and like it flows really well and keeps me interested. So, yeah, great job on that. Um
Yeah.
yeah. And then question three, the lit review clearly investigates a relevant complex problem or issue, including multiple perspectives. Um, yeah, I totally think it's relevant. Like, doomsday, um, is certainly not a new concept in any way, and I think like we'll continue to see behaviors just as history unfolds itself, honestly. You never really know what might um, trigger a new, I don't know what the right word for
Kind
it
of
would be,
like
but
frenzies. I think about like what was that last like
yeah,
trend on like Instagram Reels, like TikTok, like the rapture thing. Like that was just like last week.
yeah. Oh, yeah. You just never know what people are gonna be talking about from time to time. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I definitely think it's relevant, and especially as towards the end, you were tying in how these like behaviors and these beliefs have affected people like growing up with these kind of homes of like doomsday preppers and how that can have some really long-lasting effects. And it sounds honestly more prevalent than I had really realized or thought about. And it is definitely important to look into that, I think, as it's kind of a unique set of circumstances
Mm.
um, and of like trauma responses, I guess. So
Mm.
yeah, I thought it was really interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had fun writing it.
Yeah. And then number four arrives at a conclusion while acknowledging limitations of research proposes future plans. Um, yeah, so it seemed like towards the end, especially as you were focusing more on the experiences of children and you go into like adverse childhood experiences, it becomes clear that this is what you're really honing in on your research, and really trying to capture like the effects of children growing up in these circumstances.
Mhm.
Yeah, the only thing I would really have for you is like the very last paragraph. Like it's very clear, um, the point you've arrived to and studying the long-term effects, but maybe just like recap the biggest research findings or case study findings that you covered. And then, um, yeah, just like I would just recap like the main themes from your paper. But overall, it's looking really good. It's sounding very clear where you want to go with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Um, and then number five, organization includes a clear synthesized introduction, compelling information, and conclusions. Um, yes, I thought your organization was very smooth. Um, it was honestly very, it was just very easy to read through. And yeah, it kept me interested the whole time. You covered those main points really well and then led smoothly into the conclusion. So well done there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to keep working on it.
Yeah. And then, oh, sorry, I just went out of my tab there. Okay, we're back. The last thing is just the APA format. Um, Obviously, you know the format very well. Um, and I think everything is looking really good. The citations look really good. And yeah, your references look really good as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a little less familiar with the types of like articles you used.
Mhm.
So I know the format of research articles very well, um, but not so much like other sources, I guess. But
Mhm.
yeah, honestly, I can't see anything, any, like, I don't really have any feedback for you on that. It all looks really good.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I had to teach myself or like remind myself a little bit because I was citing from like websites. So like I was citing
Mhm.
like the CDC at some parts. And so I had like it's so different than citing periodicals in APA where I'm not using like people's names just because it's like a CDC site like article. So it'd be
Yeah.
like CDC 2025, but I'd
Mhm.
never done that before, so I had to go on Purdue Owl. I had to like go to the little handbook.
Mhm.
But I think I got it now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really interesting, all the different types of sources, because I'm so used to reading just study after study after study, you know? So
Mhm.
it was really nice to get all the different types of research you included there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I think we're pretty much
Yeah,
done unless you have anything else for me, I
yeah,
guess.
good track ones. If you just keep doing what you're doing, I think you're on a really great track. And I really enjoyed reading your paper. And I really like I had fun because I was like, we're talking about this in social psych right now. Like we literally
Yeah.
just did the black sheep effect. I'm like, this is so fun. I think
Yeah.
you're on a good track. You're doing good. I'm excited to
Thank you
see
so much. I'm glad it was enjoyable for you to read.
more. Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
we'll go ahead and stop recording there.